Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crazy Nines. My name is XHU98.
So today we're good to have you back. We're bringing you a new episode. God, it's been forever. We're bringing the 4-5 opening, which is the third most common.
Third
opening?
most common. And
Wow. I feel like saying honest for today
is
it's almost like our roles are flipped. Like I'm usually like the newbie, right? Just like listening to. Anyway,
yeah, this time I'll be the informative stage. 51 pro games. 51 pro games with this.
It's popular for a reason. Just right off Tengen, so just one spot off it. It still feels like there's a lot of central control, but at the same time, Black is wielding control over the rightmost three lines. So it feels like a pretty popular choice for me. After this episode, I hope you guys will try this out more. So White has a few choices. White has a few continuation moves, like such as D5, which is pretty straightforward because Black can, for example, play here, E3. This pretty much turns into a game of imitation. Actually, that's I'm not trying to make a vague reference to the Benedict Cumberbatch film. Anyway, so
slick reference.
So if Black plays here, White can actually keep mirroring, and this will be very fun. Actually, MARK5000 just showed me this.
Oh yeah.
You
see, when you play off Tengen, you set yourself up for just White copying everything that you do.
Right.
And it's totally bad, but you can do it for a long time before it starts to be bad.
Yeah.
So like this pattern, it's going to be pretty even for both players because there's no benefit for the Tengen spot yet.
Oh my god.
Eventually you're going to reach that spot where someone's going to have to play Tengen.
Yeah, so it seems like White can certainly do that to piss Black off. A more common approach we see here is E6. So
yeah, this is what the pros do.
Mm-hmm. Follow the pros. Then again, I'm putting video editing, right? So White has that top left corner, but Black also has a very solid right. What I like about Black here is it's almost impossible for White to invade now, because if White does that, then
oh my
we're
gosh, this
not
is so bad.
seeing a bright outlook for White.
Yeah, you remember the invasion side that we did. We talked about invasions. You have to have Miai if you make an invasion. Otherwise, it's not going to go well for you.
Yeah, in this case, even the second line magic invasion doesn't work because Black has too much strength on the fourth line, and that's what's good for Black. In order to win the game now, White has to make it a counting game, aka playing at D3. So basically saying, oh, okay, I'm gonna take the left side. Let's see who gets more, or or let's see who survives the Komi. So if Black plays here, right, obviously this feels pretty good for White because White has got half the board, and as we've repeatedly said in this throughout the series, the Komi is 5.5 or 6.5, that amount. Black is gonna have to get a lot more than White.
Looks like White's winning by 5.5 at that point.
Yeah. So Black might have to play an aggressive move at D4, the wedge. If White just walks, then or Ataris, then Black can play this. And if White plays here, it seems like White has lost a bit of tempo, and Black can play a large Sente move here. Well, not a Sente move, but a large move, at least. We have some messy stuff going on in the corner. If White just plays here, it feels like Black is slightly ahead. There is some magic going on, so if your opponent is not good at handling weird stuff, you can definitely try this one out.
Yeah, I think we found out that in our own study it didn't work that well.
Yeah, but and there's a reason, because if you play like this, right? If you play this, to our beginners out there, this is known as the L shape. Pretty much die. Yep. So, and if you play like this, there seems to be a ko, but White takes first, and doesn't seem like there are a lot of go threats for Black. In fact, nothing straightforward there, so doesn't work.
White has more go threats for certain.
So Black might not play this, but Black still has Sente moves here. So in other words, White might have to look for something more aggressive, in the end game. So, for example, C2.
This move actually saves the tempo, as we'll find out.
Because if black tries to Atari, you might say that, oh, that's not a lot different. Well, actually, it makes a difference because white can Atari and capture the D2 stone, which is quite large. It's a huge step compared to the normal connection at C3. In this case, if black plays here, tries to do something fancy, like this, white can actually come in here. Well, actually, no, play here first. That's also center.
Right, honey? Don't get excited.
Don't get excited. Yeah, actually, and you shouldn't because that doesn't get you a lot.
Yeah, we're not going to connect at B8 because if we connect to B8, it's Gote, and then black's going to take the big point and win.
So that's not good. Remember that black might even play here first. So that's one more point gone.
Ugh.
And yeah, not good, not good.
Yeah. We'll talk about this more when we talk about counting in a future lecture. If you count that your opponent is winning by like half a point or 1.5, don't play that move. Play something else. Play something harder to see.
And this is what we have been saying, that 9x9 positions are not that hard to read out when you're close to the end. So it doesn't really matter what the margin is, as long as you like win or lose. So just try your hardest to turn the game around. Anyway,
I care about the margin.
Yeah, you don't lose to me about like 5.5. Like, okay.
You have to win all games by 10 points at least.
Yes, it seems like an interesting opening for me. There are obviously other things white can do here, or black can do here. I forgot to mention this one, the attachment at d4. Now, if you imagine like this was in the 19x19 game, it seems like, well, no, that's one of the most common Josekis.
Yeah, I've seen this one before.
I strongly advise against playing the Avalanche here.
Ew, no. Please, no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Black can play here, but white can extend at c3. That feels pretty good for white, in my personal opinion, just because by playing this, I allow my opponent to have a third line territory, or not at least a second line. And white's pretty solid at this point. You can argue. So if black plays here, white can actually invade, do some annoying stuff. As labeled here, white can either get A or B. So either slide into the right side, which is annoying, or connecting.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty beautiful.
Ordinarily, you can't connect with a move like E2 because it can be cut.
Right.
Maybe this is a foreign idea to some of our viewers. But here it's actually not so bad because white can live on the right side.
Yeah, actually turns out pretty well. And keep in mind that if you attach from here, it might be even worse because now we have this. And yeah, this is a pretty much a joyride. So yeah, feels like pretty good for white here. As I've said this in previous episodes, once you get yourself a pretty solid position and you find yourself in control of center, you can actually just start pulling out all your Mia invasion shenanigans and
and you see, here's the thing, black can't actually stop you there, because if he does, then that A and B that we had marked at the previous position, that is white's right to play. White can play A, and then white can play B, and then white's going to have more, force the left side to become large enough to win the game.
So yeah, I definitely like this for white. Black can also play at D3, which is understandable. Also one of the Josekis, I think, in 19x19. But obviously white can get here first. Black will respond at 4. And white can get C3, which is quite big. You don't want black to get that. That would be super large. But after this, the problem is white can push and cut later. And that is kind of annoying because black has to fix this problem. But in the meantime, you can't really, be salty and say, oh, what can you do? Not
Yeah,
really.
you're one liberty short.
So yeah, this feels pretty good for white. Obviously, this has appeared in pro games before. MARK5000 does a lot of that in his pro database. But yeah, it seems like in the pro game, white pushed and cut. So that was
White wins this game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's another move I can play. I can just play c3 directly after this.
Yeah, that's right. So I think even that is pretty good for white.
There's so many
because once again,
invasions.
we have white has options. You can argue that white's left position is already pretty solid. Like, we're not looking for invasions such as b6, which might look cool at first, but then you realize it's just...
Nah, black has to take care of his own business first.
Yeah, so you either have to play, let's say, if you play here, then you expose yourself to some shape problems, or that. So, but if you don't, then if you fix this, let's say you play here, then white can actually do the second line trolling again.
Yeah, I played this in a teaching game once, and I felt really bad.
Yeah. Overall, it feels like d4. It's a popular move among professional players, but feels like playable for white.
Yeah, this is actually the most popular move for professionals. They played it 19 times, the d4 move.
Yeah, but what do they know, right? They're just trying to have fun.
Yeah, they're just pros. It's good for white.
White also has other ways to approach this. For example, the one space low approach. Wow, this looks so familiar. Oh, let's go.
It's like 19 by 19 all over again.
Okay, we're not gonna do that because obviously this is too slow for us. White might even play here. We're talking about this, and I feel like in order to win a game of 9 by 9, if you play as black and you play at 5, you always have to play something that is aggressive. You have to play something that is close to your opponent. So, for example, d5, it's an aggressive move. It's attaching.
It's also a Joseki.
So, well, this is slightly different actually. And you can argue that's better for black because now, even though this seems like a familiar shape, black can cut if white doesn't respond to this. So white will probably have to play at c6, and black can get a good shape. So this depends on how you play it out, but feels like acceptable for black.
It should be fun for both.
And obviously, well, this actually looks a little bit familiar to the variation where white approached at c5 and then black just bumped head on. So a little bit familiar. So it can be reverted back to that branch.
Oh, can we show that the large jump?
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, and then bump and bend.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Right. So definitely playable for both players here. A lot to be experimented. Black can also play here. So it seems like white's normal response would be d5 because if you just extend at c4, black would get better control in the center.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw that.
I like
Also,
to get that.
d5 is an old Joseki. Not for black, for white.
Oh,
Go
okay.
back. The d4 for black, and then d5 for white.
d4 for black, d5 for white. Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, this is the old Joseki pattern. And there's a surprising amount of 19 by 19 Josekis that are almost playable when you start with the f5 move. It's kind of fun.
And as always, white can experiment with h5.
Woo! Everybody's favorite Mii.
This is actually pretty killer because white's basically saying like, you can't get me, right? I'm gonna take all your points away. And this is just basically making a statement to black's Tengen and f5 stones. It's like,
Over-concentrated.
Over-concentrated. So yeah, this is also possible by black e4 here, but once again it feels a little bit soft.
Bit soft.
Black can also play here.
But
White can Hane, so also pretty nice. In this case, once again, White has the initiative because he already has a pretty good shape, so it's hard to see his left group getting killed. So Black will have to fix, and then once again we have options.
Woo.
So you always want to leave yourself with options. Some people might not like this for black because white can maneuver around. But when you use it well, and this applies to any opening, when you know what you're doing, you can probably get a pretty good result. For example, if your opponent just plays this, now you know that, oh, I can just play that, right?
Oh yeah.
I can just
And
shorter hit.
why can you play that? Why can you play that?
Because if white plays at c5, then now we're back to this branch.
Yeah, we decided that was good for black.
Yep. And if you play like this, which it looks familiar because this is Kobayashi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But the problem is, black can get c5, which is quite large. So you're basically giving black a huge area here. Not saying that you lose the game 100%, but I feel pretty good about this. Black can also play a d6, which is pretty elegant. You can argue that it has a lot of artistic value, but white can first of all play here, basically saying I can take the corner first and find a chance to invade. Black can play here, so to speak. And if black somehow gets sente here, he can spend one more move, for example, here to absolutely make sure that he has all of that top side.
Oh, yeah, that's
Personally, I like white's move at e3 better because it's very solid.
Oh yeah, that looks slow, but it's deceptive.
And this is a little bit similar, because if you look at this position, let's go back a few moves.
Right, the trick is to give you more breathing room in the corner when you decide to invade later.
When black plays here and then white plays at c4, now this might look a little bit familiar to MARK5000 because he's won against many people with this opening. It feels like white's a little bit cramped in the bottom left corner, even though there's a lot of space. But with
but white's not going to die in the bottom left corner. That's the key.
Right.
Then you have so much space to go and ruin stuff.
Now you have even more space. Yay! And this is still hard to catch. You might think that, well, black can kick first, right? And then play here. That looks like white's dead, but...
Standard killing sequence, kick in the second line.
Yeah, so, but still a lot of work to be done, obviously. If white just Hanes, black blocks. White plays here, black just connects, then you have some tricky stuff going on here.
Look at that, yeah. It's pretty hard to contain white.
It's hard to contain white. Because black's connections are so...
Yeah, if white connects up, then white's alive unconditionally in the bottom right.
This is pretty thin, so worrying trend. In other words, I feel like if black plays this way, white can definitely try out e3, but a lot to be experimented, as always. We're just amateurs, even though... Oh, okay, we're like reputable people, okay? We have like 3 OGS titles like between us. So those are some of the variations we shared with you today. Hopefully that boosts your GoQuest rating, as always.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing next episode? I'm kind of looking forward now that I've gotten back into recording, right?
Right, absolutely. Well, let's take a departure from the opening. Let's do something different. Why don't we talk about contact moves?
Ah, yes, we saw a lot of contact moves in this episode, too.
We saw a lot today, we saw a lot in our opening lectures, but how do you use contact moves, and how do you know when it's a good time to use a contact move? Why do we use them in 9x9 as opposed to 19x19? That sort of stuff. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, and maybe in the future we can even do episodes on counting, as we mentioned today.
Oh yeah, that'll be the next
one. You can even do game reviews, pro game reviews, H298 Blitz versus MARK5000, or like just scraps.
Woo!
Yes! So a lot of fun content ahead. So this series is definitely ongoing, but thank you for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time. And thanks MARK5000 for being the X298 this episode. Alright, see ya!